Hey mates, and welcome to a More Than Meets the Eye Blindformers crossover video. Today we are going to be doing a compare and contrast against Transformers Earthrise Soundwave and his cassette box. Also, Transformers Siege Sound Blaster and Transformers Legacy Blaster and Transformers Studio Series 86 Soundwave. To just kind of give you an idea of, is this mold a reuse of a prior mold? Is this mold new? How does the transformation work? Is the figure, the SS86, better than the Earthrise or Siege, or even the Legacy Blaster? And is this worth the scalper price? Because this guy's not easy to find right now, and we all knew it was a Soundwave, and I just constantly wonder, like, when they make Soundwaves, why don't they make a lot of Soundwaves? Just double pack the boxes, because you know Soundwave sells. He does. And especially 86 and Earthrise. Earthrise is just hard to come by, and funny enough, I paid the same price for both of them. That's actually kind of neat. That's just the market for you. So today we're going to be discussing this. I had a friend of the channel send me an Onyx Prime that should be arriving next week at some point. Very, very excited about that. That's the last Leader Class 13 Prime I need, and then after that, all I'm left with is 2 Voyagers. I got to get Nexus and Vector, and that will be it for the 13 primes. It has been an amazing journey for those, but that's a different video. Today we're talking about a figure that I've been excited to talk to you about today. Cream, don't you dare knock over any of the figures. Don't you bite my nose. Don't you bite my nose. Yes, I love you too, Cream. I love you too. Yes, you're such a good cat. I gotta do the video, Cream. Cream, no, don't go further. My hand's over here. Look, it's the hand that gives you pets. Nuts. How? How did you just do that? You just collapsed him and the thing he was on into my lap. Alright. We're going to set up Soundwave again. What else fell in my lap? Nope, it was just cat hair and Laserbeak, I think. I mean, I'm not sure if this is Laserbeak or someone else. I do wish... And I guess, no. We're not going to start the video off with a gripe. We're going to start the video off by talking about some really cool positive stuff. So we're going to set Soundwave's Laserbeak, or whatever that other one is called, off to the side. And then we got Earthrise Soundwave's Laserbeak, and we're going to set that off to the side, because I do want to do a Laserbeak versus Laserbeak and Ravage versus Ravage conversation for this video. I think that they need to be, talked about. But first and foremost, we're going to compare these two Soundwaves together, because they are definitely different. And anyone who says that 86 Soundwave is a retool of Earthrise Soundwave hasn't really been paying attention. I'm sorry, but you haven't. These are different molds. There's similarities, without a doubt, but that's because they both become the same thing, and there's only so many ways you can transform something into a micro cassette player. And to anybody who is above the age of millennial, a micro cassette player is this thing that was invented that allowed us to play a few songs on a tiny little cassette, like the ones that went in the answering machines. And yes, answering machines had cassette tapes in them. I know, they were everywhere. This is before CDs, Zoomers and Alphas. This is before MP3s. These are tapes. It's after vinyl, but not as cool as vinyl. All right, so that explanation of tapes aside, let's get into this guy and discuss some cool pros and cons. So let me straighten these guys up and make sure they are standing at their tallest. There he goes. And you straighten yourself up, sir. There you are. Now, first and foremost, comparison of the shoulders together. 86 Soundwave shoulders are a few millimeters taller than Earthrise Soundwave shoulders. If we put these guys face to face, we get that Earthrise Soundwave, the top of his head goes to the, well, the collarbone for 86 Soundwave. Yeah, let's straighten you up. Come on. Head, collarbone, right? Yeah. Head to the collarbone. 86 Soundwave is a bigger dude. Now, there are some really cool things and features that were added to 86 Soundwave that we did not have with Earthrise Soundwave, and a major one, the one that I want to talk about first and foremost, is the thank God they did this thing, okay? So you open up Earthrise Soundwave, you got his little cassette in here, right? There's his little cassette. Now, if you feel in there with the cassette, there's just a shelf. There's no little edge to stop this cassette inside of him from getting stuck inside of his chest. There's nothing that forces the cassette to come out. And I do appreciate, though, how wide his cassette door is. And remember, when you're closing your Soundwave cassette door, always push the button down before closing and releasing the button. That way, you don't destroy that piece of plastic over time of constantly opening and shutting it. Now we've got 86 Soundwave here. Now we're going to press his button. Now his button and Earthrise Soundwave's buttons are in a little bit of a different place. Earthrise Soundwave's button is closer to the front, and 86's button is more located on the center left of his shoulder area, around his head. Now we're going to go ahead and hit the button for 86 Soundwave here, and this one has a little shelf in there. So it not only has the shelf that the cassette tape rests upon, but it's got a right angle to that shelf, which keeps the cassette tape on this little platform. That way, if we take, we got one right here I set off to the side. I did set one off to the side. Oh, Cream must have messed it up when he came, rolling through. Where did you put it? Here it is. Okay, so we've got this little cassette tape right here from the Siege era, and we're going to go ahead and put this guy in. I'm just going to make sure he's all connected and close together. Perfect. Now we're going to slide him in. Now there's a right way and a wrong way to slide these cassette tapes in, and it's always hard to figure that out because it's difficult to figure out the connections. There's one part that's smoother than the other part, and of course this thing is slightly mistransformed, but there we go. We're going to fix our Ravage real quick because that's who this is. All right, there we go. Better transformed. Now we can slip this guy in. Right there. Right? Nope, that's not right. I'm just going to slip him in from the top. That's better. He slides in and out. Cool. Then we can go ahead and close that shelf to showcase this Soundwave can use the cassettes from the old Soundwaves. And I actually prefer the older cassettes in here because I tried the new cassettes and they are slightly too big. They get stuck in here. So I do prefer the old Siege and Earthrise cassette bots to the 86 cassette bots that came with this Soundwave because they are smaller. Not by much, but by just enough to make your life a little easier when getting these cassettes in and out of the cassette tape areas. Now, because his area is a little bigger, it is easier to get them in and out. Though, if you compare the two together, you see that Earthrise Soundwave's cassette little thing opens a lot wider, and I don't want to do what I just tried to do. Okay, we're going to stop that from happening. So it opens a bit wider and allows you easier access to the interior, where 86's opens at 45-degree angle, and like an original cassette player, and you have to really kind of struggle sometimes to slide those guys out. But overall, I do think that the new Soundwave cassette holder is better because of that right angle on the shelf that makes a little wall and stops the cassette from falling deeper into the chest, making it more difficult to pull those little cassettes out later. So that's a little bit that I think is really cool about these two guys. Now, I'm going to talk about something that Earthrise has over 86, and I have to say I'm a little annoyed that they didn't bring this with the 86. So Earthrise Soundwave here has one hand that's got a little finger sticking out, and you can bring that hand up, and you can rotate that hand around. There we go. And then you can set that finger, come on now. Kinda. Not exactly on the button, but you can kind of set that finger on the button. I liked that aspect of this Earthrise Prime. I liked that you could have him hitting his own eject button. That was cool. Now, with 86 Prime, I don't know why they did away with that. He's got movable hands. You could have given us a pointer finger on this hand. You kind of halfway did, but then with the articulation, like giving us a double jointed elbow for this, for 86 Prime would have really helped everything. Not Prime, 86 Soundwave would have really helped everything out, because see, he can't even reach the button anymore. He can't reach his own button to press it, and that's just a shame. I was like, man, he just can't do it, and it is something that's a gripe. And I have to say, I don't like that about the 86, but it's not anything major. It's just a little quirky thing that the Earthrise will always have over the 86. If you want to do a Soundwave with him opening his own cassette, I do suggest getting the Earthrise over the 86, because the 86 can't take that pose, which is a shame, because Earthrise could totally almost do it. And it was like, if you guys just built a new mold, you could do it in one. So now let's go around and compare these two guys, because those are the big things that are different, other than the size and other things. Other than the size, apparently the head sculpt is slightly different, and let's go ahead and compare some more stuff about them. First and foremost, we want to talk about hollowing, and hollowing is non-existent with 86 Soundwave. Man, I've just got Prime on the brain. We're going to go ahead and pull up your arms to showcase the bad hollowness in here. There we go. Look at that. You got these huge hollow sections, and that is the same for all of the cassette bots so far. Here is Sound Blaster with his hollow section. Not Sound Blaster, Blaster with his hollow section in his arm. And then we have Sound Blaster over here, and Sound Blaster over here also has a bad hollow section in his arm. And I never liked those hollow sections, and I'm not one for buying upgrade kits because I can never figure out where to buy them and get them at reasonable prices and stuff. It's a hassle sometimes, and I'm just too busy to deal with that. So it's nice to have a Soundwave with gaps pre-filled. I didn't want to fill my own gaps here. I'm glad that they did that. Now let's talk about the head sculpts for both of these guys, because they are slightly different, but not by much. The little head crest on 86 Soundwave is more apparent. The head crest on Earthrise Soundwave is a bit more shrunken down. The brow above his eyes for 86 Soundwave is also more apparent. And then that little gap between his face shield and his eyebrow area for his eyes to be in is bigger in 86 Soundwave. They both have very, very similar heads, but there are some noticeable differences. They do look different, I assume. They feel different, that's for sure. So that's something about them. Let's go ahead and lower your arms. You don't need to call to the skies anymore. And now there's also another bonus with the 86 Soundwave over the Earthrise. They took all this kibble from Earthrise Soundwave's arms, this thing that comes out and has no purpose except to be landing gear for the spaceship mode. But there's no spaceship mode in Earthrise, so why did you even leave that in? It's always bothered me a little bit. So they don't have that with 86 Soundwave. 86 Soundwave here has very clean arms. I do wish they had given us a couple more siege ports in him to help us customize him a bit more. I think that would be fun. He doesn't even have little places to put his laser beak. I wish there was a laser beak landing pad on his arm or something, some little tab that came up that you could stick laser beak on, so laser beak could just kind of hang out there. But there is no gap in the arm. There's a little gap on the underside of his shoulder when you open his shoulder up all the way, but that's it. Now we're going to come down here to his feet. His feet do have waffling on the underside, but they're very clean feet. They don't even have 5mm ports in these feet, which is weird, seeing as we've had so many of them. His feet are decent with the articulation. We've got the basic articulation we've come to expect, though we have also a foot rotation. I don't think Earthrise Soundwave had a foot rotation. Let's see real quick. No, his foot does not rotate like 86 Soundwave's feet rotate. And I think the rotating feet and ankle tilt means that 86 Soundwave can achieve some really good poses. So we're going to look around here at his legs. His legs have got some really good detailing on the front. I like this smooth, sleek armor he's got. Little rectangles all stacked upon each other. Really nice textures. On the side, it's clean. On the back, his legs are filled in, and that's super clean. It is very well done back here. This is a clean figure. His backpack is a decent-sized backpack. It's not too big. It's not too small. I think it's the right size backpack for Soundwave. And there's not even hollowing around the backpack, which is really cool. The arms, we've already talked about, very smooth, very sleek, minimalistic armor, minimalism on the textures, but they did some good line work to separate different parts of the arm from other parts of the arm. So there's like a little line that helps you differentiate between the side of the arm and the top of the arm. There's a little line work that helps you differentiate between the front of the arm that folds down to the fist and the rest of the forearm. It's really, really cool how just a few lines that are etched into the plastic can make all the difference. Then we come up here to his shoulders. His shoulder is very minimalistic, again, with the textures, but there's glossy, and then you got some line work in here that really just makes these shoulders they pop. They pop. He's supposed to be kind of a spy, so it makes sense he doesn't have too much hanging off him. He's very smooth. He's very sleek. It means he's got a better chance of hiding. There's not too much extra stuff. Now we come over here to his chest area. His chest area is huge compared to his his partner here from Earthrise, whose chest area is big, but 86 Soundwave's got it one on the chest on this big old panel here. And the textures are very similar between them on the panel on the front. We got a few more ridges at the top of 86 Soundwave's cassette holder than we do on Earthrise, but that little line thing with the arrow is etched out in both of them. It's raised up on both of them, which is really nice. And then we come down here to the lower section, and this is a part that I thought was really cool, is that so for Earthrise Soundwave, we've got the play button and the little buttons that make up his skirt area, but they're recessed a bit. They're not very well, you can't really feel them that well. It's very rounded, it's very smoothed over. It feels more like they've been worn down over years. Like this Earthrise Soundwave feels like an older Soundwave if you were to feel the textures. Then you get over here to 86 Soundwave, and the play button is well pronounced. The reverse button is well pronounced. The stop and whatever these other three buttons are here in the center, pause, stop, and something else, they are all really well etched in. They are extremely well done in here. I love these textures, and I love the fact that each of these skirts on his front is separate from the other skirt. So if one leg raises up, that skirt raises up, but the other skirt doesn't raise up. Now, I'm looking at you, 86 Ironhide. So that's something I really appreciate about this guy. They fixed the skirt problem they had with a few other 86ers, and it's now just two separate skirts connected in the middle, and that's really cool. He's also got some good waist rotation, and it's stiff. I really appreciate that it's stiff. Though his side kick isn't as stiff as I would like, though his front kick is decently stiff, and then the rear kick is also pretty good. He's also got a thigh rotation. I forgot to mention about 90 degrees in the knee and 90 degrees in the elbow. Now we come around here to the rear of him and we get something really cool. Really cool. They etched in words onto the play and the reverse button. So you have FF on one and you have RR on the other one, or RW on the other one. You've got different buttons here. You got play on the big button at the top, and then you have these two little buttons down here, which I'm assuming are pause and stop. And that's really cool. I like how they actually went a step further with 86 Soundwave and etched in letters onto these buttons. And we're going to talk about that when we get into this transformation. So, robot mode-wise, between these two, I think that 86 Soundwave is the clear winner. The only thing that Earthrise Soundwave still brings to the table is that pose where he can reach up and eject his own action figures. So if you want that pose in specifically, Earthrise Soundwave is the guy to get because he can achieve that look. 86 Soundwave can achieve all the other looks, though. 86 Soundwave can really make your life a little easier by the fact that they included that little wall section to stop your cassette tapes from falling into his chest. I didn't like that about Sound Blaster. I didn't like that about Soundwave. I don't like that about Blaster. They don't have a little lip that catches the cassette. And that can make your life a little annoying when you're just trying to get the cassette out and switch it out or something like that. So let's now set these guys off to the side. So we're just going to set you off over here next to Blaster, and we're going to bring out Blaster and do a size comparison with Blaster real quick and Soundwave, because Blaster was a Voyager class that was really well done in my opinion, and let's see how they compare to each other. Now Blaster and Soundwave, their shoulders are equal for once, okay? Now, that was something I did not like about Earthrise Soundwave. He was smaller than Blaster. And these guys are supposed to be the same height. Their heads are at the same level. Their chests are now at the same level. Let's see if their chest doors are actually the same size. Let's see. Soundwave's chest door is just a little bigger than Blaster's chest door, but not by much. It's not even noticeable. I think it's just the greebles on the side of Soundwave's chest door gives him a little extra. And Sound Blaster's chest door, let's go ahead and open it up. Okay, yeah, there's actually a lip in here too. I forgot about that. But Sound Blaster, Blaster also has a little lip in there to help keep your cassettes from falling into problems. Of course, your little piece that goes to the lion fell off your little arm. Put that back in your arm, sir. Put that back in your arm. Oh my god. Fighting me? You fighting me on this video? Okay, there it goes. Okay, good. So, weight-wise between these two, we get that 86 Soundwaves weighs more than Blaster. 86 Soundwave is at the same height as Blaster. 86 Soundwave has got the same articulation as Blaster, I believe, because Blaster also has 90 degrees on the elbows and knees, and honestly, yeah, no, 86 has more articulation because his feet can spin. Now, let's set Blaster off to the side, and now let's talk about something that I want to discuss with his cassette butts. We're going to set these guys off over there, and there's our Bumblebee. He's just been kind of hanging out in the center to give you an idea of sizing. And we're going to compare sizes in a second, but I really want to talk about the differences between these, okay? Because these guys are, they're the same, but different. And we'll talk about Ravage first. We'll talk about the Ravages. Here's our Ravages, both Ravages. We've got our Siege Earthrise Ravage. We've got our 86 Ravage. Now, 86 Ravage is a bigger bot, but not by much, but he definitely is larger. I like the addition of these accessories on him that give him a tail and a little rockets and stuff on his sides like he had. They don't really give you that with the Siege. Unless, of course, it's something that folds out that I totally missed on. And, I've been trying to figure out how to give this guy a tail. And I've never figured out how to pull the tail out of the Siege Ravage. But they both are similar yet different. I like the Siege Earthrise Ravage on how spiky it is, how it feels like it's angry. It feels aggressive. It feels like a Decepticon cat. And then we got the 86 Ravage here. He's got a better pronounced head, but we lost the head articulation that we get with Siege, though the head is a lot better, in my opinion. It doesn't, Siege Ravage's head looked more like a jackal than a panther. I was like, yeah, this feels more like a jackal's head than a panther's head because of how thin and long it is. So really, really happy that we got a better head that feels more cat-like. And that's something I approve of. His little paws are bigger. His back paws are bigger. He's got some good articulation, but his articulation is about the same as the Siege. Now, he has a little bit more in the middle, so you can get him some poses, like you can raise up his front, lower that leg down just a bit, and then raise this leg out, as if he's like trying to slash at something with his claws. It's neat. It's neat. And some people have poo-pooed the difference between these two, and I don't think it's something that you should. They each have their own unique things. I personally like the 86 Ravage more. And I like the 86 Ravage more because he feels more complete. The Siege Ravage, I love the transformation. I enjoy it. But I don't like about Siege Ravage is he feels very fragile. They use some very thin plastics, some very hard plastics in him, and I worry about this guy breaking one day, about these plastics becoming more fragile and him breaking. It just feels like it could happen. Then you get to 86 Ravage, and his plastics are a bit softer. They're still hard, but they feel like they can take a little more wear and tear than other plastics. And only time will tell, but I'm betting that 86 Ravage can hold up the test of time better than Earthrise or Siege Ravage. And the little tail addition with the rockets, that's just extra bonus. But for the most part, I think the 86 Ravage wins. I do like the new design. It took a little bit getting used to, I'll admit, but I appreciate it because I feel as though it's going to last me longer than the Siege. And I also like the head sculpt a lot better than the Siege head sculpt. The Siege Earthrise head sculpt bothered me. I didn't like it. I really do like how big this head got, and I like the feel of the 86 Ravage over Earthrise Ravage. So we're going to give the winner to 86 Ravage there. I know I've been watching some YouTubers, and people keep poo-pooing 86 Ravage, and I'm just like, but he's a fun little cat bot. How can anybody get mad at Catbot? You know? Now let's compare the Laserbeaks together, or the Laserbeak molds together. So we've got Laserbeak from Siege Earthrise, and we've got Laserbeak from 86. Now, the first thing we need to talk about are these wings. So something that annoys me about 86 Laserbeak is the fact that his wings don't raise up. You know, they can fold down, but they don't fold up. And then closer to his body, because of the transformation and how that works, this wing on his body doesn't fold up either. And that leaves him always having his wings outstretched. And in my opinion, that does lessen this figure. I wanted him to be, his wings, for one, feel a little too long. And also, I just wanted to be able to fold his wings up. Fold up the lower wings, and then fold down the top ones so that he kind of folds himself up when he sits on Soundwave's shoulder. And I was really hoping to get that action with the 86 Laserbeak, because we didn't get that with the Earthrise Siege Laserbeak. He just kind of had these tape sides that fold out once, and those are tiny little wings. So the Siege Laserbeak needed some retooling to get the wings better. And I do think that it's a shame we lost the ability to have his jetpack and stuff unfold from his body like with Siege. I think that was a fun aspect of the Transformer, because you can always fold that back to give him a smoother, sleeker design, or you can fold that little rocket pack out so he can get some afterburner going. I think that's fun. That's a part of the transformation. You just have him flying around without that, and then something happens, and Laserbeak needs to speed up, and so this will just transform out of his body. I'd be like, phew! I think that's fun. I think that's a neat little aspect of this Transformer, and this Laserbeak will always have a special place in my heart for the fact that he's got no parts forming. Everything about Laserbeak transforms out of the cassette, and that is cool for Siege and Earthrise. That is amazing, and I love it. But then I get over here to 86 Laserbeak, and I like these additions on his back. I like the little lasers that you have to plug into his back. Now, Is it a shame you have to plug them in? Yeah, but do they feel better than what folds out of the other Laserbeak? Kinda. I like them both for their own unique ways. Like these are, and that's something I'm learning about the 86 Soundwave versus Earthrise Soundwave when it comes to the cassette bots is they are different, but I can't really declare one better than the other except just by smidges. Like 86 Ravage is just slightly better than Earthrise Ravage. Like if I had to give Earthrise Ravage a letter grade, I'd give it an A, and I give 86 Ravage an A+. It's not much of a difference. It's just a little bit. But in my opinion, that little bit does matter. Then we get over here to these two guys. 86 Laserbeak. It's got some cool stuff to him. I like how he's bigger. I like that he's a bit clunkier. But I don't like the fact that his wings spread out so far. I wish there was a way we could fold them up other than folding them forwards. No. Though this means that you can have Laserbeak actually sit there in front of a piece of paper, and he can you can have him writing a letter or something, drawing out a map or something else with his little wingtip folded forwards. Yeah, I think that's a fun little gimmick for him. And they each have their places, and I'm hard pressed to declare one better than the other one because there's things I like about 86 that Earthrise doesn't have. Like I like the biggerness of the head. I like the cool what lasers that you plug into his back. I don't like the wings. I don't like his feet, but I like the wings and the feet. Well, I didn't really like the wings for Earthrise, but I do like Earthrise's feet, and I like the fact that this thing folds up. And the Laserbeak himself, he doesn't feel as big. His head isn't as big. We're going to compare heads real quick. See, 86 Laserbeak's head is larger than Earthrise Laserbeak's head. And that allows for some cool extra movements. Though I do wish they had given us a little bit of a little extra bit there and allowed us to open his beak. I think it would have been cool if we could pull that beak open and we could have him like mid-screech or something. That's a neat idea for these two. But I can't decide which one is better. They both have their own places. So giving them grades, I'm going to have to give both of them an S ranking because both of them get an A+ ranking because if they got it, if 86 wanted the S, then his wings would have been able to fold up. And if Earthrise wanted the S, then his wings would have been able to fold anywhere but backwards. That's what it comes to. Is the wings on both of these guys aren't quite as good as I was hoping they could be, but I can't decide which one is better than the other one because they're just too close, in my opinion. So that is the cassettes. Now, 86 Soundwave came with a second bird, and I always forget that bird's name because I never remember that bird's name, but he comes with two birds that are the same exact transformation, and I was a little saddened by that. I was really hoping for, multiple transformations. Now let's get to the robot transformation for 86 Soundwave. Here it is. And also talk about comparing him to Megatron. Because, if you're getting the leader class Soundwave, you won't getting him because you want him standing next to leader class Megatron. And there is a big difference between these two. It's a wild how much bigger Megatron is than Soundwave, and Megatron can look over Soundwave's shoulder. But they were this was the difference in sizes in the show. Earthrise Soundwave was too small to work with 86 Megatron, and he may work with the Siege Megatron really well, but he doesn't work with 86 Megatron, and 86 Megatron is the Megatron we all want. Now, there is really they're just too cool together. They're just too cool together. I think that they're awesome together. I love that we get a Soundwave, the perfect size Soundwave for our Megatron to command. It's amazing. Okay, so there's Megatron. We're going to set Megatron back down here and hopefully not step on anything. Now let's bring out our smallest bot. Where did I put him? Here he is. No, this is Gears, but we can use Gears. Gears compared to Soundwave 86, the top of gear's head goes to the bottom of Soundwave's little cassette holder. And, of course, Soundwave can reach his arm up and wrap his head and then punch gears in the back. Yeah, Soundwave is like that, bro. All right, now we've got... Where's my little Bumblebee? Here's my little Bumblebee. Let's compare Bumblebee to Soundwave, and the top of Bumblebee's head goes up to just above the actually just at the waist rotation for Earthrise 86 Soundwave. An 86 Soundwave can wrap his arm around Bumblebee and, of course, punch him in his back. Yeah. I love punching Bumblebee in the back with the Soundwave. That's fun. Let's put their Bumblebee back up here. So, overall thoughts and processes. One more, because I pulled him out to compare where to go. Cream, what did you do with him? You did something with him. Here he is. This is Sound Blaster, the siege mold for Soundwave. Of course, this is Sound Blaster, so he's got the bigger tape deck that can hold 2 tapes. And he's got the same dimensions as Earthrise Soundwave, so we're seeing the same exact stuff. A couple millimeter difference in the shoulders, and definitely difference in the heads and stuff like that. But that's those two. So we're going to set Sound Blaster off to the side. Now let's go ahead and discuss this transformation as part of the review, because that's what I like doing here. So to start the transformation, go ahead and take his gun off of his shoulder. Go ahead and take his gun off of his backpack. Fold the backpack panels, because each of them have a little panel that has a siege part on it. Fold them both upwards. Then you're going to take his gun. Make sure you press in on it so that the little laser bit that comes out is pushed in all the way. Now, find the part that feels like the positive end of a battery, and that's going to go on the vertical, so that's going to be sitting up. And then we're just going to plug it into a siege port on his back, almost in this same exact spot as the siege port on his backpack. And if you do it right, then you get this this little vertical slit or horizontal slit and the gun. And then if you feel in the panel that folded up from the backpack, you'll find that there is a horizontal slip there that plugs that in and presses into it, and it is secured. So let's go ahead and do it with the other side gun real quick. And I like that his guns not only fold into this, but they secure down very, very well. So we're going to go ahead and do this one too. Plug that guy in. Plug you in. Plug you in, sir. Sir? Am I doing that right? Yeah, there should be. There it is. The 5mm peg on his back, underneath the backpack, is a little hard to find. So there it goes. Now we got it in there, and we're going to go ahead and fold that panel down and lock that guy into place too. Yeah, we're locking both of these guys into place. There we go. Something happened over here. What transpired? Oh, his backpack came undone. Right, we need to still fold his backpack backwards before locking those in place and push the head down in there. Now, let's make sure we get the head done right. I think it can just fold in like that. There we go. And fold those two back in, then collapse those panels so they lock into the back of the gun, and now you've semi-transformed him. Next step is you want to go ahead and take his arms, and we're going to fold. There's a panel in the arm we got to play with. There it is. So you find the panel, look for the vertical peg, or the long rectangular peg sticking out of his arm, and then go to the opposite side of his arm from that and push down in that direction with the fist, and the entire side of his forearm will open up, and this will allow you to fold the fist backwards into it, and then you fold that arm closed. Okay, you're going to follow through with the same steps on the other side. Fold that arm down, fold the fist backwards inside the arm, fold the arm closed again. Now, I'm around here to his back and pull at the shoulders, and the shoulders are each going to pull backwards, and that's all we're doing with the arms right now. They'll have more to do later, but at the moment, we are done with the arms. Let's go down here and work on these legs. These legs are really fun. They're really interesting. I like the fact that they have a few transformation gimmicks. So first and foremost, take your finger, drag it down the back of his thigh, find that there's a little lip there. You pull on that lip, and you're going to fold a panel out of the upper part of his leg. Then we're going to go down further. We're going to fold his feet forwards, reach underneath them, and pull that back panel of his leg open. So there we go, both panels opened. Next step is this leg, the foot is going to rotate 180 degrees So the toes are now facing backwards, and then that foot is going to fold up into the leg. Now, if you feel in the back of the foot, there's this weird little panel that only covers like 1/4 of the bottom of the foot. That panel actually folds upwards, and that's going to make the top of the cassette player. So we're going to follow the same steps over here. Rotate that foot 180 degrees. Then you're going to push that foot into his leg, and you're going to find that little piece on the back of on the underside of the foot near the heel, and fold that piece out, and that is donezo with his legs. Next step is make sure you don't collapse that panel there. Now we have to fold these legs upwards, and they are going to finish building a really cool thing. I believe we close that panel. Yeah. So one panel gets closed, but the other panel gets left open. The lower panel closes, but the upper panel is open. But before we can transform these legs, one more transformation step, rotate his waist 180 degrees and bring out those really nice buttons. Then fold that his rear skirt gets folded up to his chest now that you've rotated 180 degrees, and we're going to fold out these two panels underneath it. Very, very similar transformation technique to Earthrise, but we get something different from it, and that's something I like. This is same, but different. Okay, close that panel. And then we're going to fold this leg up, and it's going to snap kind of in place as long as that panel that is in the upper leg doesn't get folded down into anything. We just got to make sure we treat that panel with respect, and it's going to treat us well. Okay, I believe that's not got the leg yet. Let's see what's going on there. Oh. When transforming him, make sure you get these thighs right, okay? Because the thighs have 2 rotation points, and sometimes that can drive you batty. All right? Now, if you feel in this leg, you'll find there's a vertical slit or a vertical peg, and if you feel around here on the side of your Soundwave, you're going to find there is a place to plug it in. And we just got to line up that vertical peg with this vertical slit that's close to the top of the transformer. There we go. First leg is connected. Now we're going to come over here, and we're going to follow through with the same steps. We're going to fold this leg up. Okay, make sure that little leg panel doesn't collapse down. Make sure your thigh is correctly rotated, because that can always be a hassle. And then we're just going to fold it up and connect it. Nuts. Let's see. Come on. There you go. Has that got you? No. There it goes. That's got it. Okay. Now we've got those 2 legs connected into the sides of the cassette tape mode. Then we're going to fold this skirt down, and those pieces are going to connect into the thigh in little bitty spots where they connect. They're not really insanely strong connections, but they're really good at doing what their job is. Next step is push on the shoulders, and what that's going to do is lock the arms into the transformation. Now, if you feel on the rear of the leg, there should be a vertical slit cut out of the back of the leg area underneath where this arm sets, and if you feel the arm, there's one little section that has a vertical peg. Rotate that 180 degrees, and then that's going to fold down, and that should meet the arm, the spot, and connect. And sometimes it will, and sometimes it won't, because that is a very, very tight connection port right there, and it can be a pain to get that guy to connect right there. He never wants to do it. You never want to connect right there. Okay. Maybe... Oh, wait. No, rotated the wrong way. I'm not looking for that peg. I'm going for the peg that's on his upper arm a bit when I should be going for the horizontal peg lower down on his arm, and that peg connects into the back of the leg like I was trying to do with the other one. Yeah, blind people problems. Yeah, there it goes. Connected. And then the little doors shut on the back and connect him. Then we're going to give him the squeeze test, make sure everything is proportional, and that is how you transform him. You get a very neat little micro cassette tape player. He doesn't look that bad from the rear. You've got some little stuff going on here, but it does feel more complete than Earthrise. We've even got the panel to slide down to. I do wish that they had just make this panel slide down and you just put the guns into the battery pack like you could with G1. That's cool in my opinion, but this works very, very well. Now, this transformation for for 86 Soundwave, in my opinion, is a lot more fun than the transformation for Earthrise Soundwave, and far less annoying. Now we got Earthrise Soundwave here, and we're going to go over his transformation real quick as part of the compare contrast video. So you want to fold his fists into their little areas. You want to take off his gun on this side. You want to take his gun off on that, on his back, on his shoulder, and that gun is just going to connect to a peg on the back, on his back, and there's both guns on his back all pegged in. Then fold the arms. There should be, we're doing this right, and there should be some connections on the guns, I think. No, there's no connections on these guns. Okay, let's just go ahead and fold these arms backwards, and there it is. Okay, and then this arm gets folded backwards too. So it's very similar transformation to rotate the waist to 360, 180 degrees, not 360, silly Max. And then go ahead and move this leg around and see if we can get this panel on his back of his leg open, because he's also got a panel on the back of his leg, but he doesn't have much else going on here. Come on now. Come on now. Come on now. Open your panel. Open your panel up, you silly guy. There it goes. His panel opens differently than 86 Soundwave, where 86 Soundwave's panel opens to the side like a little door. These actually open upwards like little garage doors, and then we're going to reach into them and pull out this other little piece that's actually going to become the side of the cassette tape. Yeah. Then we're going to fold the foot in there, and then we're going to fold that piece over, and that little piece we folded out is actually going to cover the end of the toes. Okay. Now we're going to do the same with the other side. Fold the foot in there, fold the piece over, and it's going to cover the end of the toes. Then we're going to rotate this upwards. Okay, split the legs. Come into this little play pause button thing and rotate all these little pieces out. There we go. Like we did with 86, except, 86 is better. We're just taking your cassette out of there. Now, go ahead and fold this side of the legs onto the sides of your cassette tape holder, making sure that the thighs are rotated correctly. My thighs aren't rotated correctly again. Okay, come on, thighs. Rotate correctly, you little... There it goes. Good thighs. Okay. And it is a lot of playing around with them until you get everything lined up correctly. Once you get everything lined up correctly with the Earthrise mold, it will all kind of connect. Very well done, but it's getting everything to line up correctly, which can be the pain, especially with these thighs. Come on, thigh. Rotate around, you little bastard. Come on, rotate. Crap. That thigh's not wanting to rotate the way it's supposed to rotate, but it's okay. I think I can do it in reverse. And we're just trying to do a quick compare contrast video with these guys. Okay, so that one's in. This thigh was rotated incorrectly, so I gotta fold this thigh. Rotate this thigh. Come on. Come on, you little bastard. There you go. Rotate that thigh. Now I gotta rotate the top of the leg. Alright, there it goes. And now this can rotate around. Come on. And there we go. Alright, close that up. Push these guys down, and they're going to connect into these little ports on either side. And that's generally... Oh, forgot to put his head away. Oops. There we go. There we go. Head's put away. Everything's put away. And now we got these two cassette players beside each other. Funny enough, they're at the same height when they're cassette tape players. They're almost the same width. They're the same height, which is funny. Depth-wise, 86 Soundwave's got it on Earthrise. But they are very similar transformations, and I can see why people believe that 86 Soundwave is a retool of Earthrise Soundwave, but I don't believe so. The transformations are just too different. It feels like, two different transformers that are becoming the same thing, a little rectangle, and it's hard to get that little rectangle shape, except in a very certain ways. You can't just have everything on this guy split in half and rotate all the way around and be a completely different transformation, because you're still trying to achieve the same simple shape. And a simple microcassette tape player is hard to make complicated. So, the transformation for Earthrise Soundwave, I'm going to give an S because it's satisfactory to me. It is satisfying. I like this transformation. It's easy, it's intuitive, and it's fun, and you get a nice shape out of it. A good microcassette player. So, the comparison between the two for microcassette player is, without a doubt, Soundwave wins, where his transformation is definitely in the S category, in my opinion. The Earthrise Soundwave's transformation's in the A category, in my opinion. It's not as satisfying. Then you have these modes, and 86 Soundwave definitely gets the S in his, well, microcassette player mode. It just works for him. It does. And in another video, I'm going to be explaining how to transform his cassette tapes from their modes, but I can quickly and easily talk about Laserbeak here. Real quick, where's my Laserbeak? Here's my Laserbeak. Now, for the Laserbeak for this, just pull off his little back panels. It has two little guns, and then you want to fold his legs. Well, first, before folding his legs up, fold his wings forwards, then fold his legs up, then take his wing tips and fold them back, and then take his head and fold that backwards. And that is how you transform your 86 Laserbeak. It's not as satisfying as a transformation. I'm going to give the winner for the Laserbeaks to the Earthrise Laserbeak. I think that is a more satisfying transformation. I like the weight of it. I don't like the wings on the 86 as much. The winner for the cassettes goes to Earthrise Siege Laserbeak, in my opinion. It's just more satisfying to transform. Then you have Ravage. I'm going to give it to 86 Ravage because the 86 Ravage is far more satisfying to transform than the Earthrise Siege Ravage. And many people, judge by looks and stuff, but I judge by transformation. And I believe 86 Soundwave is the must buy. He is the clear winner between the two Soundwaves. If you didn't have the Earthrise, don't bother spending your money. Unless, of course, you want those cassettes, because at the end of the day, the biggest thing that is that I have to say about this, that's the negative, is that the Earthrise Siege cassette tapes fit into our 86 Soundwave much, much better than the cassette tapes he comes with. Thank you all so much for watching today's video. I hope you've enjoyed this blind man's perspective in this compare-contrast video on the differences between Earthrise and 86 Soundwaves. I personally believe that 86 Soundwave is the winner, but let me know in the comments below, who do you think wins? Please like, share, and subscribe to help me raise awareness of the blind and the visually impaired. And as always, I will catch you next Prime. I've been Blind Prime, aka Max, and this has been my big fat assistant, Cream the Cat. Who's a good cream? Who's a good cream? You're a good cream. Until next Prime, bye-bye for now.